We're gonna go ahead and find out how to ride. So let's just say, so this was my first bike. So Chinese 250 Titan thingy from powersports.com, I think it was called. No, LCC Powersports, that's what it was called. And this bike, it's okay. Like, I think I'm starting to outgrow it now. I want more. But, you know, I'm 17. I don't have enough money to get more. So I'm just gonna teach you, or I'm just gonna assume that you got a better bike than me, which, to be honest, doesn't really matter unless you got like 1000cc, which you definitely don't need as your first bike. You would kill yourself if you got that as your first bike. So let's just say you're watching this video because you searched it up and somehow you find mine with me and my 53 subscribers. And let's say you need to know how to ride a bike, or let's say you're about to get a bike, you're not too sure, and you want to make sure it's not too hard to ride a bike. Now, if you're thinking about getting like a Honda Cub, which is like semi-automatic, so like there's no clutch, but you still have to shift. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. There's no clutch, but you just shift. That's it. Then skip this video because this talks about clutch, the clutch, this one. But if you have a Honda Cub, you don't have the clutch, so you'd be kind of confused. But let's say you got an SV650 as your first bike, which is a great choice, by the way. Plenty of power that'll last you much longer than this thing will for your growing into stage, and it's also not hard to ride. At least that's what I've heard. I mean, if I can go from this in like 4 months to my uncle's R1200 GS, which has 125 horsepower, this makes like 17. I think you can handle a 60 horsepower or something L-twin Suzuki. But let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna take your key. Now, my bike key goes here. I've seen my friend's bike, his Harley, it goes down here. But I'm just going to assume yours is up here. So put your key in. Put it on. Kind of like a car. The first thing that's different from a car is the kill switch. If your kill switch is like this, it'll have a circle with an X through it. If it's that means it's off. But if it's on just a circle with no X, that means it's able to run. And then you're going to have a little button down here. This is the run button, or the starter button. Now, on my bike, it requires me to press in my brake and my clutch, which you should just do. Even if your bike doesn't require that, you should do that anyway. So let's go ahead and start it up. Now, I don't know why, but my bike is idling really high, but that's not the point. And now you've gotten to the point that your bike is running. You don't know what to do. Well, your right handle, that's your throttle. And a huge step in riding a motorcycle is throttle control. You don't want to do too much. You go max RPM every time you're in a gear. That'd be dangerous, especially first gear. You don't want too little that you stall it out. I'm going to show you what stalling out looks like. Now, realistically, you just don't give enough gas and you release it, but I'm just going to force it out. That's what stalling looks like. And if you do it, don't get too scared, and also try not to fall, because you might fall. That's just... And also, falling is a part of learning. It's okay if you fall. And also, on your left, you have, unless you have a pure dirt bike. This is an enduro. It's a dirt bike, and it can go on the road. Unless you have a pure dirt bike, you won't have this. Here's my light. This is brights off, brights on, brights off. Turn signal, left, right, and then push it in. It turns it off. Horn. And then here's your light switch. This actually turns it on. This just turns on the different modes. On this side, I should also said this is your front brake. On this side, this is your clutch. So if I try to put it in gear with no clutch, it'll stall. But if I do it with this pulled in, it doesn't stall. Alright, if I start to release it, you know, the RPM gets lower and the bike gets quieter. That's because the clutch is engaging with the wheel and the gearbox. So, see? I'm moving it. Alright. Next step to riding. Well, I guess the first step should be familiarizing yourself, but whatever. Next step for controls, down here. That's your rear brake. And this is your front brake. And then that's your shifter. I guess now the next step would be to actually go. Now for just demonstration, I'm going to try to go with no gas. Which... There. Boom, look, I'm going, no gas. Clutch is out, no gas. I'm surprised I'm going up a hill. I'm surprised I can go up a hill with no gas and with me on it because I'm fat. Alright, so that was with no gas. Now my bike is idling pretty high, so that's probably why I was able to do that. But now you're going to do a little bit of gas. Now when I went through the MSF, they basically said you're most likely not in this course not going to go over half throttle. So you got quarter. It's probably a little bit more than quarter. It's quarter, half, and then full the rest of the way. Whatever. This time I'm just going to do quarter throttle. That's like quarter. See, look at that. Boom. I didn't move the gas at all. And I'm already going. Alright, we're going to stop. So, boom. Look at that. First gear. That's first gear. It's already so easy. And you're probably also worrying about balancing. When you're at low speed, it's harder. Balancing low speed is way more difficult than when you're at speed in second and third and whatnot. First gear, low speed is the hardest way to balance. Hardest gear to balance, slowest speed. Same thing goes with a regular car. Although you're not balancing, but just like not stalling it and going slow. But on a bike, it's just harder to balance yourself. But when you're at speed, the bike balances itself. You don't really have to do anything. And when you're turning, you're actually going to push against it while leaning, which I'll get into later. So now we're going to go ahead and demonstrate shifting. Shifting is when you pull in the clutch when you're at speed in any gear. You pull in the clutch and you pull up with your foot. See? Okay, now in first, second, third, and whatnot. There we go. Come on. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate shifting. So I'm in first, and notice how the bike has gotten loud. I'm going to turn this quarter. But because the bike has gotten loud, because I'm still in first. Now I'm going to shift into second. Look. Boom. Easy. Alright. That's second. Now I'm going to speed up a little bit more. I'm going to go into third. Pull the clutch. Up. Boom. Done. Third. And remember, I'm pulling in the clutch before I shift, and I'm shifting with my foot, pushing up. Don't worry about that. Well, that's for more advanced stuff. I've just learned it on my own. And then you're probably thinking, oh, well, downshifting must be super duper easy. Well, you're kind of right. But with downshifting, you don't want to just release the clutch. You don't want to just slam it down. And I'll show you why. So I'm going to go at speed. And now I'm going to release the clutch into first. See that? Bike did not like that. What the bike is doing, the gearbox, the transmission is trying to catch up with the road speed. Because of that, it kind of locks up the rear wheel. Not really. It shakes a lot. I don't really know. I haven't really seen it in person. So that was shifting up into another gear while at speed. Alright. So far, it's pretty damn easy. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about, which is rev matching. But I probably shouldn't teach you guys, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to go. Alright, that was kind of a crappy launch. So I'm in the first, second. Alright, I'm going to round this corner. And also, you're always going to check left and right, or right or left, until you turn. Alright, I'm going to go into third. Now I'm going to use my rear brake. I'm going to twist the throttle. I'm going to blip it. I'm going to pull in the clutch. I'm going to go into second. Rev matching, all it is matching your engine speed with the road speed on your transmission. So it doesn't do what I showed you before, where I downshifted into first, and it kind of like leapt, and it wouldn't let me go, right? And that was rev matching, which, to be honest, shouldn't even be talking about. So let's talk about turning. You don't turn the handlebars. Watch. See, look at that. I'm going to push, right? I'm going to push. Oh, I'm going right, alright? Now I'm going to push my left hand. Oh, I'm going left. The way you turn is you just kind of keep your hands in place and you lean with your body. Leaning. Not turning. And yeah, you'll kind of use both at the same time. But you turn with your body, not your hands. Your hands are kind of just there for support. You don't really hang on that tight either. Like, I can go one hand, whatever. Let me get in a straight line. Like one hand, alright? Alright? No, no hands. Now, I'm not skilled enough to go with no hands for a while, but whatever. You won't be either when you're watching this video, most likely. So, I'm turning, boom. I don't really use my hands. I kind of just let the motorcycle do it for me. I don't force it to do anything. I don't force against it. I don't force with it. I just kind of let it happen. And also, while you're turning, you're going to look at where you're turning. Because there's this thing called, what's the word? I don't know. Basically, if you look, I'm going to look at that handicap sign. Oh, I kind of went to it, right? Now, if I look where I'm turning, rather than the handicap sign, I'm going to go where I'm looking. Alright? If I look at the handicap sign, I'm going to go towards the handicap sign on accident. Alright? Oh, I did it again. Alright? But if I look to where I want to turn, I'm not going to do it. See? So when you're turning, you're not looking at, like, let's say a double yellow line when you're on a road. You're going to be looking where you're turning. Like that, right? Okay? I'm going to look to my right, make a sharp turn. That was a little bit too sharp. Make a sharp turn. Don't know what the truck's doing. I'll do that again, because I kind of screwed up. Alright, I'm going to look to my right. Keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. Oh, look at that, I made a turn. If I were to focus on the light pole, I would 100% hit the light pole. When you're turning, you look where you want to go. Not what's near, and not what's in the way. You're going to be looking where you want to go. Alright, so that's turning. And that is essentially it for beginners for riding a motorcycle. And when you're going down the road, there's one more thing. I'm going to use this. I'm in the center. So this is lane position 2. Well, now I'm on the right. Let me find a better spot. Actually, hold on. I'll use this parking spot, for example. So let's say right now I'm on the road. I'm riding. Right now I am in lane position 2. I'm in the center. Lane position 2 you shouldn't go into, even though I do it, because there's oil and stuff that's slippery and shit from cars. Because of that, you can just fall randomly. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit for this. Let's say I'm riding on the road, and I'm over here. This is lane position 3. Now, if I'm on the right side of the road, I'm near the shoulder. And that's relatively fine. But what you should do, most of the time, let me move back. Let's say I'm in the right lane, alright? So, car's right here, and here. Cars are right next to me. I'm going to want to be right here. And the reason for that is because it kind of prevents them from turning over if they see me. It kind of prevents them from drifting. Of course, they might, but you just got to be prepared for that. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about, which is just being prepared for people drifting into your lane. You're going to have to swerve out of the way. So lane position 1, 2, and 3. That's very important. When you're going over a hill and your foot pegs might scrape, you want to go into lane position 2. If you go in lane position 3, as the hill is crest over, your pegs are going to hit on lane position 3 or 1. So you want to be in lane position 2. So let's talk about the next thing. Let me find, this is swerving. So let's say there's an object in the road. I don't really have anything on me. Let's use this like little red plastic. Let's see. So let's say I'm going down the road. I'm going to talk a second. Let's say I'm going down the road. I see that red thing. Let's say it's a cat. I don't know. What I'm going to do, I'm going to swerve out of the way. And I'm going to see that black line right there. I'm going to swerve like right around there. Let me back up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swerve with my body to the right, and when I'm going to come back in position, I'm going to push against my handlebars and go back into position and then center up. So let's do this. Whoop. Like that. Right? Now, it would be much easier at speed, so let's do that at speed. Let me get over here. See, I'm looking over. Alright. So let's say this red object is in the way. Alright, you see the red object? Oh, got around it. Boom, I went left this time. And that's how you swerve. Of course, if you're learning to ride a motorcycle and you want to practice more, I would recommend, even if you got your MSF license, you went through everything, I would recommend you go into an empty parking lot. Probably not one that says rundown as this one, but somewhere. I would go into a good parking lot that's maybe a little bit smaller than this, but in better condition, or just as big, whatever. This one's pretty trashy. Even if you pass the MSF course, it's always a good thing to practice no matter what. Even if you have 20,000 miles under your belt, you're still going to want to ride and practice. If you don't ride, because I didn't ride for like 4 months straight because it was so cold, because, you know, Missouri weather. And when I got back on, when it was warm one day, I kind of sucked. I was like, oh shit, I'm about to fall over. And the other best thing to do to practice is just go ride. Like, maybe don't take the highway on your first real ride. Which, you know, you shouldn't. Just don't go take on the highway. Go to side road. Go to, like, go through your neighborhood. Go, you know, do something like that. That's another great way to practice, is just ride. Not go into a parking lot going like 10 miles an hour. Go ride in speed limit legal streets. something like that. And that's an amazing way to ride, or that's an amazing way to practice, is just go ride on streets. That's how I learned, was just riding through my dad's neighborhood. And the first time I went out onto an actual like road, I was comfortable, and I was riding with my dad with his BMW. And I was very comfortable, and I felt confident in myself, and I did just fine. And I think that's all I want to talk about. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you want more motorcycle content, which I'm going to anyway, I don't care what you guys say. If you want something specific, like more tutorials or more just like vlogging and riding around with my friend, then stick around, or just say something in the comments if you want something new. Or, I don't know, do something wild. I don't know. One thing I want to do with this bike is go to actual trail and ride around. But haven't been able to do that yet. So, yep, I will see you guys later.